So now we are ready to cover the boot with the fondant. I have a red fondant here and the ganache is dry to the touch and it is quite firm as well. Now I'm just going to set the boot aside. I'm going to give in all the space here to cover the boot. For the first step, what I'm going to do is to have one strip of red here about an inch that will just go all the way through and come and cover the front, the bottommost all around. So I'm just going to take some portion of the fondant. I'm going to make a sausage and then roll out a long sausage and then stick that part first. So just going to do part by part. So as you pick the fondant, you just need to knead it first and then soften it out. I'm going to make a rough sausage first. Dust the surface with corn flour. He's going to use craft knife. I'm just going to get the scale up and measure 1 inch. I'm going to follow the marking and then cut it through. I'm just going to dust corn flour. I'm just going to roll it up here and then I'm just going to gently unroll it by placing it on the cake. Okay, so now the cake could be dry and we just need to moisten it up before putting the fondant. So I'm just going to add water, brush it. Don't add too much Because without water, the fondant just may not stick. I'm just going to start over from the back. I'm going to have the overlap here and then cut it through. Now I'm just going to roll out. I'm just going to roll out so I will be able to cover the front all the way till here. Okay, and then I'm just going to another sheet wrapping up from the back, and that will just make the flap here. So I'm just going to have a sheet that will cover this front part, and that's going to be in red. So I'm just going to pick up I'm just going to get the cake. The water is already brushed. You can also lift it up with your hand, however, just to be safe. I'm just going to start unrolling it. I'm gently lifting up the pleats, and extras will be cut now. So just remove off the pleats and make sure there are no bigger air bubbles. So I'm just opening out to release that bigger air bubble that was caught there. I'm just going to cut through from here. So I'm just going to, we are going to have a flap coming over here. So this part will be covered anyway. So I'm just going to go in to the base and cut out excess. If you're having a fondant surface that you have just draped and then you're just having uneven surface on the top, the tip that you need to use to smooth them out is to take the same colored fondant, okay, and then just make a ball, okay, and hold the same ball and then go over. Because now using your fingers is just going to give finger marks over there. Now if it is sticky, just dab a bit of corn flour. Corn flour marks we could just remove off later at the end. But right now, if you think it is sticky, adding corn flour is the way to keep working on the fondant. So I'm just going to have another flap coming in here and then come in all the way till the front. I'm just going to go all the way here and then cut them through, and that is going to just remain till here only, okay. So for that, I'm just going to roll out some more fondant. So I've just rolled this out into a pretty thin sheet and yet quite big enough for me. I'm just going to make a straight cut there. I'm just going to get the boot in, and I need to brush in water. Now that there is fondant cover, we're just going to go over this, and we want this flap to come and sit. So I'm just going to brush water where exactly we want this, because the rest we will just cut it out. I'm just going to dust in corn flour on this. I'm just going to roll. Now that it is quite thin, I just want to add corn flour. So all this part in the middle is excess and there will be pressure because of the weight. So we just don't need that. So as the first step, I'm just going to chop off the excess. So it just stops tearing up. Now again this is excess, but I'm just going to get both the flaps to the middle. See the pleat here. And just gently open up, just smudge it through. Now I've covered the cake by giving the flap here in the front and then removed off all the excess, made it neat. So it is going to take a while to just get to the shape you want, and you can add patches. I just tried not to add patches. You could have, as a for a an easier version, you could have just gone on one patch like that and one more of this shape, and then the back could be covered as a separate patch. But when the patches are neat, then you could have a straight line and then even put a stitch kind of a marking there. It is going to be quite fine. So the top will anyway be covered, the house will come and sit on top. So you could smudge this and then make it neat, or you could just leave it as it is because you're going to double and then place the house on top. Now you see air bubbles. Okay, just collect the air bubbles together and then use a sharp tool, get the air out and then just smooth out. Okay, so getting this even is important. And now after draping, like I said, you need to have a smooth fondant ball to give the final finishing. If you just covered a cake with a shape that is not a square or a round, when you do that, you use your fondant smoother. Now that the shape is like rounded everywhere, then we might have to use a different method, which is fondant of the same color. Just make a ball and then rub Okay, so now I'm just going to get back to make the finishing touches. The first is to get the stitch marking where needed, and then I'm just going to follow that to make all the additional attachments that is needed to finish this boot house cake.